Hey everybody, Earthbounder89 back again with another video, and today, as you can see, I'm flanked by the new Bandai figures for the new Godzilla King of the Monsters movie coming out tomorrow, May 31st, 2019, and the hype is very real. And today what I wanted to do was just to discuss my history with the series. I'm seeing a number of people that have been watching the videos on the figures that I've been finding in Japan, and I figure I'd just like to talk a little bit on my history with the series. Now, I've been watching since I was 4 years old. I'm going to be 30 this year if I didn't say that already. But just been a long-time fan of the series, and when I was 4, my dad showed me King Kong vs. Godzilla, and from that moment on, I fell in love with the series. Now, something else that probably now thinking back why I was so drawn to this series at that point then was that in the early 90s, dinosaurs were pretty popular. In 93, Jurassic Park came out, and that was a cultural phenomenon. And then also, too, something sort of related was I was a big Power Rangers fan. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, to us that grew up in the 90s. And that is a Japanese tokusatsu series, Super Sentai. And so it was a lot of action, and having dinosaurs just made it even cooler. But since seeing that first movie, my dad and me, we would pick up VHS tapes, going to flea markets or when we went to Blockbuster or another rental store. And seeing every movie was just, for me, it was just so cool. Some of my favorites growing up, and I think nostalgia will play into a lot of people's opinions on the series too. Now, King Kong vs. Godzilla is one I really love. And then, of course, I think anybody can appreciate the first film because it was a landmark. But then I think you'll find a lot of people tend to agree that as the Showa series went on, it was catered more for kids and not taken quote-unquote seriously. But it doesn't mean you can't have fun with them. And I think, for me, like Godzilla vs. Megalon, say what you will about it, it's a fun movie. And for me, I think characters like Megalon and Jet Jaguar, which were solely isolated to that movie, hold a lot of appeal to me and a number of other fans. But and then another film I'm really nostalgic about, and yeah, I'm going to take a lot of heat for this one, but Godzilla's Revenge. Now, I watched that movie a lot as a kid, and of course it would appeal to a kid because it stars a kid actor. Now, some people say it's a horrible abomination, and yes, if you come into it expecting a Godzilla film, a serious Godzilla film, you're not going to find it in this one. But what I tell people to do is temper their expectations. Imagine it as a Home Alone movie made in Japan in the 60s with Godzilla fight scenes thrown in, and it becomes way more entertaining. And as a matter of fact, last year, a friend and I were watching the anime films on Netflix, and I'll share my opinion on those later. But halfway through the second one, we were just like, this is unbearable. We just had to turn it off. I said, have you ever seen Godzilla's Revenge? And he was like, no. I said, well, you're in for a treat. So we found the movie and watched it, and it was just a good time. It was just funny to watch the movie, and it's so quotable too. I think anyone who's a fan of the movie that's seen it, if you mention one quote, they can immediately fire back with the next one. It's just one of those kind of movies. But after seeing a lot of the Showa films as a kid, I think anyone who knows the series will know that we got the first two Heisei films in a way. Now, Godzilla 85 came out in the theaters, and then Biollante saw a release on HBO and then VHS, but after that, we didn't see any of the rest of those movies in the theaters, sadly. Now, if you lived in Japan, of course you did. But it was about 98 or 99 that TriStar, who we know, of course, did the American film, another one that's... You can't compare it to the Japanese one. They totally failed in that front. It was a summer popcorn flick. But having that cultural, and I think just awareness of Godzilla in '98, because of that big blockbuster movie, it allowed them to release the Heisei films on VHS and then syndicate them on TV and turn a profit. So it was there that I was able to see Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, Mechagodzilla 2, Space Godzilla, and Destroy It. And I think that's a series that anyone, it's easily accessible because the suits look better. The special effects have definitely improved over the Showa era. Now, not every movie is great. I mean, Space Godzilla, cool suit, iffy special effects. But I think in general it's an easy transition for people who are not familiar with the genre. But then also too, the Millennium series I have a lot of nostalgia for, as Godzilla 2000 was the first one I actually saw in the theaters. And to see a Godzilla film on a big screen for the first time was just mind-blowing to a 10-year-old like me. And that was significant too because I had maybe like 2 Trendmasters figures as a kid. Like, I got at KB Toys. But it wasn't that until I got to the serious Godzilla stuff, I mean, take that for how you like it, but when Godzilla 2000 came out, that's when I picked up the Bandai Movie Monsters figures, and seriously got into collecting, and something that's continuing today, as you can see, even more so in Japan. And that series, I think, it has its highs and its lows like any other one. GMK is my personal favorite, and it's because of I think the mythos of it, that they're ancient guardians. It was definitely a different take on some of the characters, and but the director of the Gamera films from the 90s did it, and I think it was an interesting perspective, and it kind of breathed new life into the series in some way, or at least into that entry in it. And it's one I really go back to and watch all the time. But while I kind of didn't like 2014, I fell asleep in the theaters, honestly. Shin Godzilla was good, in that it was a different approach to the series. Seeing the evolution was a unique touch, and I think for a long time the human element in Godzilla films was kind of lacking. But I know, as a fan, I'm excited for this movie to see the monster fights, because 2014 was a snooze fest. But Shin Godzilla, I think, if you look at it from the perspective that how would society react to an actual monster attack, and as you get older you realize all the bureaucracy and all the headaches that come with governments, or just people having to find a solution for a problem. It's pretty realistic, and or I think it's as close as we get to seeing what a situation like that would be like. But like I said, hopefully this film finds a nice balance between the story, the people, and the action of the monsters. I mean, it's been 5 years since we saw a Godzilla film, or well, 5 years since the one in the MonsterVerse series. But hopefully this kickstarts, well, past Kong vs. Godzilla, this kickstarts more movies to come out, and get a new generation of kids into the Big G himself. But anyway, guys, that was my history with the series. I don't want to be too long-winded on it, but hopefully this week, after tomorrow when I see the movie, I'll put up a review, or just discuss the movie rather. I don't really have that much fancy equipment or editing skills, so just put out what I can. But anyway, guys, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe or like the video. It helps me out, and share it with another Godzilla fan. I'm sure they might be interested to see it. And until next time, guys, have a good one. Enjoy the movie.